All right, buddy. You want me to White Claw? What the fuck? Anyway, um,
That's all I had.
you want me to let loose, or you want me to tail it back a little bit?
I mean, it's your show. You do you.
Is it though?
Welcome to the Buddy Pulley experience. Welcome to the Big Motor Small Blade podcast. I'm Buddy Pulley.
And I'm Denny Hamlin.
Not Denny Hamlin, you're Seth Dolby. We're here to talk Pocono, all things about that. Justin Haley going to Rick Ware Racing. I got it right that time. Austin Dillon and whatever that was. Ryan Priest and Corey Joy getting into it. No caution at the end. And, of course, the Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson debacle, we'll call it. Next on the Big Motor Small Blade podcast.
Third time's a charm, buddy, right?
Yeah. Look, so Justin Haley's going to Rick Ware Racing, and I kept saying he's going to RFK. He's not going to RFK. He has an alliance with RFK, or the team has an alliance with RFK. I recently learned that their cars are being built in Roush's shop. So, wow. Yeah.
I should have just let you do it.
Appreciate the intel.
I should have kept that the first time and not told you, and then just gotten an AI to say Rick Ware Racing.
I mean, I wasn't entirely wrong. I mean, Brad apparently was in the meetings about it. What an out of left field announcement.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What do you think?
I think it makes Atlanta make more sense.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah,
that because a colleague and Justin the entire time he's been there has been, team player at plate races, and all of a sudden he was just like, nope, I'm winning this race, and it was like that's really weird. And now all of a sudden, like, okay, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. Do you think it's like I see a lot of people thinking it's like career suicide. What do you think?
I don't think it's that bad of a move. JJ Yaley's been solid this year. And if they're going to be getting more, if Brad was in the meetings, I would imagine they're going to get more support from RFK.
More than they already have. I forgot they already have an alliance with RFK.
Yeah. So we've seen Justin and Chris Rice even said today on social media that Justin's been a big part of their growth as a team. I don't know if it's that bad of a move, really. I don't think it's a bad move either. Like, I think that he didn't. I think it's I don't know how it's. I look at it like, okay, Rick Ware Racing, I feel like they're going to invest in Justin Haley. But I also feel like Colleague Racing was investing in Justin Haley. They were going to make him, I literally said it, a week or two ago. It was last week during the Q&A. I said he's a franchise driver for them. And that's a little bit what I'm perplexed by is what was the gain for Justin Haley, really? Because it seems like a very lateral move. And I don't feel like it's an upgrade. I feel like it's a downgrade immediately, but I don't think I think overall it will be at least a net zero on that. Like, I think he's going to net out just about the same as he would with a colleague. It's just an odd move. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely taking a step back for at least the moment. There's no doubt about that. But I'm on the opinion of I don't understand where Colleague's at with it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Austin Hill brings more money and they need it. I don't really know. I mean, Matt Colleague's a fucking billionaire, so I don't really understand. But maybe it could just come down to they were pretty far off on either numbers or direction or something. I don't really Yeah. We don't really know, but somewhere along the line, somewhere in the relationship, a tether broke,
and they weren't on the same page anymore. It doesn't mean they don't like each other anymore. It doesn't mean they don't respect each other anymore. Just they weren't really right for each other business wise.
The only thing I worry about with Justin is I don't know Justin, but I've talked to Justin quite a bit on a more than just fan or just random person level. We'll put it like that. And the only thing I worry about is he's had a decent year this year. It's been, I would say, about the same as he had last year with Colleague. He hasn't seemed like a significant. It has been an improvement if you look at the points, but I'm worried about his confidence because Justin always is a guy who is kind of down on himself, and that's the only thing I worry about with him. Is he going to be able to be mentally strong through this process? Because I feel like moving to Rickaway Racing, it's going to be a process similar to what the process that RFK has gone through to get to where they are. And I think that, I don't know. That's the only thing I really worry about. But other than that, it was a weird move, but I think they'll win in 2 years. I told someone that this week. I'm going to stand by that. I think they'll win in 2 years.
I hope you're right. I don't know about 2 years.
Justin Haley's a hell of a race car driver. Yeah. And Rick Ware stated when they hired him that he doesn't wreck race cars, which is good, which obviously a small team like that needs that, and that's part of the appeal of JJ Yaley. I wish Justin Haley would still go by JJ Haley, and they just had JJ Yaley and JJ Haley. So yeah, I think Justin Haley. Like I said, I think he's a good driver. I think this is not a bad move by any means. We don't know what was on the table for RFK from that side of things. So I think to judge it right off the bat, like a lot of people are, is really unfair. I think there's a lot to be shown from that team.
Yeah. That's the other thing for Rickware Racing. I think they need to try and get JJ Yaley in the car full time. Because when they go through a bunch of drivers, JJ is the only one consistently that doesn't wreck the thing. I mean, he did today, but generally speaking, he doesn't do that. And most of the other guys they put in that car, except, your Joey Hands or whoever. If you want to put JJ Yaley in and then have like a guy like Joey Hand or something run some road course races, that's one thing.
Jensen Button, Joey Hand, whoever, they're basically the same. They both spun it out, but yeah. Before we get into Austin Dillon, can we talk about this for a second? Actually, no, we'll talk about Austin Dillon first. Okay. I said let's talk about Austin. I don't know what to say about this dude.
I do. He and his granddad need to get back to fucking reality. That's what I tweeted.
That's
and
true.
I stand by it because they are so off on every single incident that they're a part of.
It's like Alan Gustafson and Eddie DeHunt talking to Chase Elliott.
They make Alan Gustafson and Eddie DeHunt look like saints.
Yeah.
Like, at least some of the time.
They look illusional. They make them look illusional.
Like, dude, how the fuck do you leave a lane to the outside between you and Brad Keselowski and chop the nose off the 45 and then go, damn, I can't believe that motherfucker wrecked me. How do you do? I can understand Austin being upset in the moment in the car because he doesn't know 100%. I get that. And it's not a great spot for the spotters and all this. How does Richard Childress watch that from up top and go, yeah, no, he just completely dumped you?
Dude, Richard Childress had Dale Earnhardt all them years. Richard Childress didn't need Dale Earnhardt, or Dale Earnhardt didn't need Richard Childress. Dale Earnhardt was, one of the greatest, if not the greatest race car driver to ever drive a stock car. And so Richard Childress really, he didn't have to defend much. Dale Earnhardt's, his driving spoke for itself. And then you have guys like Austin Dillon that just
are historically ass.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, man, like, yeah, I mean, like I said with Dale, Dale could back it up. And so I understand standing behind your driver. Obviously, it's his grandson. So there's a lot there. But, dude, at some point, you got to get a grip. Like, it's just stupid. I mean, you do the same thing at Gateway.
The exact same thing.
Yeah.
What was that, 5 weeks ago?
Yeah. Yeah. And Richard Childress said basically the same thing. Austin Dillon told the media that Austin Cindric should be suspended.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, dude, this dude's out. Like, I don't know. I need to start wrecking people is what he said.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea, Austin.
Yeah. His brother said, I'm way ahead of you, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. And that helmet throw.
That was terrible.
That was bad. Yeah. He had a decent arm, but.
Had, like when he was in high school, apparently.
Yeah. But accuracy is way off. I've never thrown a helmet up the banking. So, like, I would imagine that's more difficult.
It started from how he held it. He held it upside down by the part that you can stick your hand in. Like, that's just bad form. You hold it from the bottom so you can fling it and not have it get caught on your hand.
Yeah. Like,
dumbass.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Robbie Gordon. All right, Robbie Gordon, his helmet throw on Michael Waltrip. I feel like that's overhyped too. I don't know where he was aiming. Was he aiming at the car? Or was he aiming at the window net? Robbie Gordon.
I would
imagine he was aiming at the window net. And if he missed, and that's pretty bad. But this was like, you weren't even close, bro.
Yeah, no. You got to get some air under it.
Yeah, as far as helmet throws go, Tony Stewart, A1, Robbie Gordon second, Austin Dillon, you're way down the list, bro. You got Elliott.
Not even on the list.
Yeah, I mean, Elliott Sadler's got you beat.
Yeah, no, you're terrible. What did Tiller Dirtbag put it? Your bitch made?
You bitch made. You bitch made, Austin. You bitch made.
Well, it's just embarrassing to wreck yourself, call the other guy out for it, and then throw your helmet so poorly that it doesn't even get close. Like, that's terrible. That's 3 strikes, Austin. You're out. You played baseball when you were a kid. You're out. Actually, you played in the Little League World Series. Yeah, that's really pathetic. Fuck you, Austin Dillon. That's terrible.
Wow. All right. Yeah. I agree. Fuck you, Austin Dillon. Yeah, I forget. Someone said, "What's your opinion on the Austin Dillon accident?" And I said, "You talking about the wreck or his birth? Like, which one are we talking about here?" Yeah, and then I mean, his brother straight up dumped the shit out of Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, that was
what the hell was that?
I guess he got pissed off. I don't really know.
I guess
Doesn't make any sense. See, look, Austin Dillon, that's getting wrecked.
Yeah, that's getting wrecked. Yeah. And then what Ty Dillon's teammate did to Ryan Preece, that's getting wrecked.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, Spire and SHR, man. I mean, they're battling. I know they're battling for 39th every week, but
that's pretty impressive since there's only 37 cars.
I know. Yeah. I think my exact words earlier when Briscoe got wrecked, I was like, what could they be fighting over for 50th? I have a conspiracy theory that Corey LaJoie was leading when Ty Dillon wrecked Chase Briscoe. I have a feeling that I think there's a conspiracy theory that, helped Corey LaJoie's pit strategy. So that's why he did it.
You're going to have to come with some evidence for that one, because I don't think that helped him at all.
It probably didn't, but I'm going by Spire logic.
That's fair.
Yeah. And then Ryan Preece goes up after Corey LaJoie spins him out on the last lap. Talk about that caution here in a minute. He goes up and roughs him up. That's how I'm going to put it, in his car. I I think it's kind of a bitch move.
Yeah.
I mean, you only do that to like guys that you know is going to kick your ass, like Ryan Newman, like Clint Boyer, 1,000 IQ move, throw a couple like rock'em sock'em robot punches in there.
Clint Boyer did essentially the same without the hitting part from Austin Dillon. He did essentially the same thing that Austin Dillon did. Like he wrecked himself and then blamed him for it.
I don't remember that at all.
I just saw it again today, but
okay,
that's why.
But yeah, Priest goes up and roughs up Corey LaJoy in the car. Bro, let him get out of the car. Like, fight him like a man. Like, you talk about how you worked for all this shit in your life and all this bullshit you talk, Ryan Priest. Get out, like, fight the man. Like, straight up fight the man. Let him get out of the car. Let him take your helmet off. Don't pull a Kevin Harvick. Like, fight the guy.
I mean, I understand why he was fucking pissed, though. It looked like he got jumped.
Oh, I 100% understand why he was pissed. Yeah. I'd be pissed, too, if I was running with Corey LaJoy. But, like, but I was just, I don't know. Ryan, kids don't do that.
Yeah, that's bad luck.
Yeah. Bad luck.
Don't look like an idiot.
Yeah. But so let's talk about this no caution deal on the last lap.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I think it was the right call.
What, you think no caution?
I think no caution was the right call until it became clear and obvious that he was not going to be able to get it fired back up before the field came around. It's the right call at a track that big.
Caution's a caution.
No, it's not. Because hang on here, look. Pocono's lap time is long enough and Pocono is a big enough track that you can call a caution like that where the guy is out of the way. You can call it the same way you call it at a road course. At a road course, that's not a caution until it becomes clear and obvious he's not going to be able to get it going again before the field comes around.
Only problem, it's not consistent with what they normally do. That's an issue. Also, like, they waited too long to throw the caution, I feel like, too. Like, I feel like they should have thrown it. They waited till they were at the tunnel turn or getting ready to go into the tunnel turn.
I mean, it did look like for a second he was going. He was about to get going.
Yeah, but still, like, man, you gotta either make the call or don't, essentially. Is what I kind of how I feel about it. You either got to call it when it happens, right when it happens, or you don't call it. Obviously, not calling it was the wrong move. Would have been the wrong move, right?
Not calling it at the end, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I don't. It feels like they were kind of like halfway on this.
I don't see your confusion. Because, so here's the thing. When it happens, he's already at the back. And by the time they would have thrown the yellow, everybody would have been by him. So to me, and to be fair, I'm coming at it from the point of view of that's not a caution, period, to me. It's just not. It shouldn't be. It should never have been, and it shouldn't be going forward. But I understand the point of it is sometimes a caution.
Yeah.
But by the time it's done, there's no danger. There's no danger until we get to the point where everyone's coming around. And if you call it in the tunnel turn, that gives everyone enough time to back out. And it's not going to be a dangerous situation. And you gave him as much opportunity as possible for him to get it going and for us to finish the race as it was.
It's kind of the same issue I had with the Kevin Harvick deal at Atlanta, where he was really slow on the apron. He had the pack flying by him. It was just, like I said, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with them calling the caution in the race and they're not caution. That's not my deal. I just feel like they waited too long to throw it. And I feel like if you either call it when it happens, like I'm trying to say, you either call it when it happens or they just called it too late, in my opinion. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I don't understand.
My brain's fried.
I don't really understand your point.
They called it like they gotta call it, but they waited too long they waited till they were basically up on it to call it. Is what I'm saying.
When did you want them to call it? Coming out of one?
Coming out of one, halfway down long pond, like something, dude. Like,
okay. I mean, I can see it, but the only problem I have is around the time they were going through one is when he kind of got it going again. And at that point, you're thinking, okay, he's going to be moving at enough and be on the access road, and it won't be a problem. And then he stalled it again.
It's just my issue. It's just inconsistent with a lot of shit they've done in the past.
I mean, to be fair though, we had local yellows at Chicago, and then at Atlanta.
Dude.
Hang on. And then Atlanta, we did the same thing.
They want to have stage cautions. Treat it like a fucking oval. All right.
Well, I don't. Stage cautions kind of ruined the second stage. Totally ruined the second stage of this race. But to be fair, this is essentially the same way they called the Kevin Harvick thing in Atlanta, and all we want is consistency. So that's 2 in a row now that we've called it that way.
Yeah, but they were. I don't know. I feel like they're both.
I just think the argument of it's either a caution or it's not doesn't take into account any other factor like size of the racetrack.
Yeah, you're right in that. I was wrong saying that, but like, I don't know. My opinion, you either call it right when it happens, or at least call it before you get to the wreck. I guess. Like,
I can understand that point.
Yeah,
I can understand that.
Like. You waited till you were up on it, and at that point, no one's slowing down. Ain't gonna make a fuck if he's in the middle of the racetrack and someone comes through the tunnel turn. I mean, it's gonna be people. It's gonna be a chain reaction deal. Obviously, it wasn't. We were fine, but I don't know.
Okay, so your opinion. Don't take into account what we've done in the past. Anything. Was the initial incident a caution? Your opinion?
Yes, because he stopped for so long. I feel like if you stop for a certain point, can't.
In the moment.
Well, I feel like that's unfair because.
I'm just asking your opinion. I just want to know where you're at with it.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily.
I don't mean every time. I mean this specific one.
I know. It's not necessarily a ball and strike call. It's a case by case basis, right?
This is not a gotcha question. I'm just curious where you're at.
No, I know.
Okay,
but like I said, like I don't think it's a question where I can be like, was that or was it not immediately? I think it was one of those deals where, yeah, you can give it a second to see what happens. But after a couple seconds, and he doesn't move, you got to put it out. You know what I mean?
I don't know, though. I don't know, because it's going to take another 45 seconds for the cars to come around. It does matter. It does matter because what is and is not a caution is based off of there being dangerous conditions on the racetrack. And if there's still 40 seconds until the field comes by, it's not a dangerous situation on the racetrack.
I don't know. It's a tough deal because you almost can't if we want to take everything out of every history, everything, no, it's not a caution. But if you look at everything that we've done in the past, right? And you have to because it happened, right?
Okay, yeah, but that's not even what I'm asking about.
What you're asking is, was it a caution? Period.
I'm asking, in your opinion, do you think that should have been a caution, ignoring history? When that happens, you're in race control. You have the power. Are you throwing a yellow and sending us to overtime?
Overtime's not in my mind. I'll put it like that. Overtime's not in my mind. I don't give a fuck about overtime. I don't care if it's lap 1. I don't care if it's lap, we're 3 overtimes in. I'm looking at it as, okay, 41 just spun. Okay. He's rolling. Okay, he's not rolling, put it out.
Okay.
I just,
I just think it needs to wait until there's actually a dangerous situation on the racetrack, and I think that's what we did here, and I think that should be the standard going forward.
I mean, I don't know. I think my opinion, I'm just too hard-headed not to think about what we've done in the past.
I mean, that's fine, but like I said, admittedly, I'm coming from a position of we've done it wrong for decades in the past.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and obviously it's been inconsistent for a long time. The first race I ever went to on the last restart, I remember Brad Keselowski getting spun into not in the outside wall, but into the outside lane, and we didn't have a caution. And we ended up with one of the most iconic moments of all time of Tony Stewart passing Jimmy Johnson on the outside. That doesn't happen if we were consistent. Every other time in that race, it was a caution. So should it have been there? Yeah, it really should have been. But so I understand there's been a lot of inconsistency in NASCAR before, but I think this is where we need to be at a big track with a lot of room. I think we need to wait until it becomes clear it's going to be a dangerous situation. We don't need to wait until it is a dangerous situation. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, at that point we can see, okay, the field is going to come by here in about 10 seconds. That's enough time for everyone to slow down and not create a bigger problem. But it's not enough time for Ryan Preece to get going and also not create a problem. So it's a caution. I think it's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but you also gotta give enough time to get safety trucks deployed to, and get the field slowed down, because it's a hard thing to call. Like, it's a hard thing to get.
It also depends on what the incident is too.
Yeah.
So if Ryan Preece comes down and destroys the inside wall and he's on fire, he's leaking fluids, it's different. I think immediately the caution needs to come out because guys have to get out there. If he's just spun out and he's just stalled it, it's not the same thing, because the safety trucks don't have to get out there right away. He's not hurt.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to point. I guess the point I'm trying to make, I guess, to anybody listening, is that there's always so many factors to it. It's not just like a video game where they can just kind of program it like, oh, if you get 75 degrees sideways, we're going to throw a caution. And I don't think it should be that way, especially at a track big enough like Pocono. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of them deals. It's kind of, I don't know. I think they waited too long to throw it, and I don't know. That's my deal with it. All right, enough of the bullshit. Your boy got wrecked.
Yeah, I did.
Now, all right. How do we judge this against the Ross Chastain incident last year? Put it like that.
All right. For me, the difference is well, there's two differences. A, he never actually made contact with Ross Chastain.
He did, but
did he?
Yeah, he made contact with Ross.
Okay,
lighter, but
much lighter.
Yeah.
Okay, but B is Ross definitely had it coming and should have known it was coming.
Yeah.
So the argument of he should have lifted is a lot different with Ross than this, because Ross should have known as soon as they lined up that this was going to happen. Kyle, having raced Denny cleanly for their careers, until Denny comes out and says differently, or anybody comes out with anything,
Denny's already said differently.
Of course he has.
Yeah.
He's never said that before now.
Yeah,
but all of a sudden, yeah. And yeah, that's the difference.
Here's the difference for me. If you look at the video side by side, they look very similar, but there's a lot of differences as far as racing etiquette that kind of makes the call as far as like who's at fault and who, was this, how egregious this move was. Ross, I think you could take the history of Denny and Ross out of it completely. I think bottom line is Denny last year had half a car length on Ross, beat Ross to the corner. And really Ross was out of the groove and Ross was hanging on for dear life. And Denny was playing chicken with him. He was playing chicken with his head cut off, essentially. And he gave Ross an option. He's like, look, you're in a bad spot. Here, I've put you in a bad spot. You can lift or you can not. And it really doesn't make a fuck to me. Kyle Larson, on the other hand, Larson beats Denny to the corner. Denny sends it in underneath him. Denny said Kyle missed the corner. Kyle did not miss the corner. Kyle holds his line. Kyle's in the groove. Ross was not in the groove. And Denny just drives up like Kyle's not there and puts him straight in the fucking wall. Plain and simple. I mean, you as similar as they look, they're two very different, instances here. I mean, he wrecked him. He wrecked him straight up. I guess not wrecked him. He didn't really wreck, but he put him in the wall. Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, no, I went down a rabbit hole. You kind of got to look at the Bubba Wallace situation with Kyle and Bubba. That was a little bit different. All these situations are different. Like, Bubba and Kyle never touched Bubba, but definitely put Bubba in a bad spot. And Kyle does that. But you race guys how they race you. But there's a fine line between racing guys how they race others, how you watch them race other people. And I think Denny crossed that because I don't think there was any reason for what he did.
Yeah. I've been on record on this show, especially last year. Kyle was pissing me off last year. Like, I've been on record with that. There's no doubt about it. There is significant differences, though, in the incidents Kyle had last year in this. Take the Bubba Wallace incident into account. Kyle was certainly overly aggressive in that moment, but he did get out of the throttle. He was not trying to run Bubba into the wall.
Yeah.
He did. There's no backing around that one. He definitely did. There's the Chase Elliott incidents get brought up all the time. Auto Club, he was trying to throw a block. It was a bad block. He shouldn't have done it. He got told he was outside. He tried to throw a block. That's not the same thing. It's just not.
Yeah.
It was a terrible move. He should not have done it, but it's not the same thing.
No.
Watkins Glen, the big difference between this and Watkins Glen is that Chase Elliott came out second in Watkins Glen. Kyle ended up 21st from this incident, or 20th.
I don't even think Watkins Glen's in the conversation. I mean,
no, but everybody else puts it in the conversation.
Yeah.
So I read a lot. I've read a lot.
I bet you have. So. Yeah.
And let's be clear about this too. Before last year, Kyle had a history of getting run over and not doing anything about it. Yeah. I don't know where this revisionist history came about that Kyle Larson just ran people over for the entirety of his career in the Cup Series. It's just not true. It's factually inaccurate. And quite frankly, I'm kind of sick of it. And again, I'll go back on it. On record, I called Kyle out when he was wrong. So here I am. I'm going to call Denny Hamlin out when he was wrong. He's been raced cleanly by Kyle Larson throughout his entire career, and Denny goes in here and fucking wrecked him.
Yeah.
So, and clearly it shows Kyle Larson does not get upset easily. He didn't even get upset about the Bubba incident last year, or at least visually on TV.
No, I don't think he was.
I don't think he gave a fuck.
No.
And he got out of this and was pissed.
Yeah. And going kind of back to the Ross thing is that was retaliation with a scalpel instead of a hammer. We've all heard the quote. This was just blatant. Like, yeah. I mean, here's the thing that irks me the most about this is he didn't own up to the Ross thing. And he didn't own up to this. He said he never touched Kyle. He never touched Kyle. Bro, you never touched Alex Bowman. That's true. 100% true. He never touched Alex Bowman. But you doored Kyle Larson. You doored Kyle Larson. There's 1.5 million cameras and however many eyes on you that can see that you doored Kyle Larson. Like, that's the problem that I have with Denny Hamlin. Is Denny started to grow on me because he was speaking the truth in a lot of ways. And that's true. He does speak. He speaks his truth. Sometimes it is the truth, but a lot of times it's not. It's his own truth that he believes in his own little mind. And that today was a prime example of that. I mean, the fact that he says he left him a lane, that is, bro.
Out of the groove is not a lane.
Yeah, that's not like I said, Kyle, you doored him. And it was here's how I look at it. Ross Chastain, whether Denny makes contact with Ross or not, Ross is going to hit that wall. 100%. If Denny does not make contact with Kyle, they get off the corner side by side just fine. There it is right there. There it is. I mean, I don't know. It's saying you left him a lane is the equivalent of like people in F1 saying, that's my corner, and you have like a fucking nose wing on him. Like, yeah, go fuck yourself.
That's been my issue with open wheel racing for a long time, is that guys act like they do not know how to run side by side, and I've always said, oh, yeah, NASCAR sucks. Yeah, we can't do that. We do that all the time. So when I hear shit like I left him a lane and he could have backed out, I'm just like, really? Are we really going to devolve into this Formula One shit? Yeah. Like we're a
one.
I hate to say it like this.
Hasn't even. Oh, go ahead.
I hate to say it like this, but I feel like we're above that. We're supposed to be about side by side racing.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing that's annoying coming from an F1 driver. Ayrton Senna said, if you no longer go for that gap, you're no longer a racing driver. Kyle Larson didn't even go for a gap. That was his track.
He was there. He was ahead.
There. He was ahead. Yeah, that was the thing. Denny throttled up and very much intentionally, like, just used up all of, if you want to put it in F1 term, Kyle's track. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. Kyle puts people in a bad spot for sure, but
rarely does he give them no option but the wall.
Yeah, exactly. That's not putting someone in a bad spot. That's wrecking someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Kyle's comments after the race were great.
Yes.
All my buddies know Denny's always right. Dude, the whole world knows Denny is always right, according to Denny.
You could feel that too. Like, dude, we know what the relationship dynamic is now. Like, there's no doubt now. We know exactly what it is.
Yeah. I thought the boos were absolutely hilarious. Yeah. I can't wait for Richmond next week. I think it's always comical that we go to Martinsville and Denny gets just rained on with boos, and it's like his home track. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, I don't know. Just a dumb situation. Like, Denny, you could tell Denny was pissed off earlier in the race because they got on the wrong pit strategy, and it happens with Denny often. I'll leave that really. If it happens with Denny often, if he feels like he should win a race, he typically does something dumb like this to win a race. Yeah.
Well, and the stupid thing is if somehow, some way, everything aligns and Kyle Larson is restarting in first on the inside of Denny Hamlin, and he does this thing to Denny Hamlin next week. Denny is going to get out of the car and see, I told you, he'd have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Completely ignoring the fact that he only did it.
Let's bring up Chase Elliott, Martinsville. Denny Hamlin flat out wrecked Chase Elliott. Tells Chase Elliott that I was getting pushed behind. Tells one reporter that he never touched him. And tells another reporter that Chase backed up the corner. All of those were completely false. And then when Chase Elliott pulls, I still put on record to this day, the best retaliation I've ever seen in my life. At Phoenix, Denny gets out of the car and says exactly what you just said. He would have done the same thing.
Yeah,
not true. Not true
totally,
at all.
And yeah, that is obviously what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because
Denny doesn't think. He doesn't think straightly, because clearly doing that to you after you've done something is not the same thing. It's just not. It's fucking ridiculous to even insinuate it.
Yeah. The fact he never touched him. That's, Denny, that's right. You never touched him and you never were in bed with that.
I hope Kyle does it and gets out and says, I never touched him.
Yeah. You never touched him. And just like that, never touched you in Chicago that one year.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Denny? Hold on. This is another thing. Denny Hamlin is like a toxic ex. Like,
I mean, he is.
Yes. But he gaslights the shit out of everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my God.
That's what Kyle meant by he's always right.
Yeah. I mean, duh. Kyle Petty's comment. One, Kyle Petty's a goat for his comments after this race.
Oh, hang on. You talk about Kyle Petty. I am so sick to death. Kyle Petty has been an incredible analyst for years now. And for some reason, every time he calls someone out, which he's been incredibly consistent on, throughout the entire time.
Him and Denny's original beef was something he said on Speed Channel calling Denny out.
Yeah, but
15 years ago.
Kyle, for the past 15 or 16, however many years he's been an analyst, has been consistent on basically every issue. I can't even think of one he's been almost inconsistent on. Anyway, every time this happens, everyone goes and brings up his racing record. It's not relevant.
It doesn't matter.
It's totally irrelevant to the situation. Kyle Petty, the analyst.
Kyle Petty knows racing more than probably just about everybody out there.
Exactly. And even if his racing career was a dud, which it basically was, but there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not as simple as what you guys make it out to be, A. But B, Kyle Petty, the analyst, has been batting like 950 the entire time, and you guys still give him shit for it. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Speaking of someone's racing record, my man Ross Chasta ran 25th all day long, and he still caught hell after this race.
What'd he do?
He didn't get Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson gets out the car and straight up called out Ross Chastain. He called him out. He was like, he did the same thing to Ross last year. Ross probably deserved it. I mean, he did, but damn.
He's not wrong, is he?
He ain't wrong, but
that's the other thing.
Moon had to put it best. Ross out here still catching strays.
Well, here's the thing about Kyle, and we saw this a lot in 2021. Kyle has an incredible sense of just like knowing what's going on at all times. Like, how many times did he get out of the car in 2021 and like recap the race during his post-race interview?
I don't know. You're the only one.
It was like every time.
Yeah.
He would get out and be like, this happened, and then so-and-so wrecked, and so-and-so had a bad stop at pit road. I was really happy about that or whatever. And he'd go through the entire race. I'm like, dude, how the fuck did you go out and win this race and also watch the TV broadcast at the same? Like, I don't understand how he managed to do that. Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Second greatest race car driver of all time.
Apparently.
Or, I'm sorry, no.
Behind Shane Van Goat.
Second greatest race car driver in the world.
Behind Shane Van Goat?
Behind Shane Van Gisbergen. Yes. Who's also coming back.
That he is.
Yes, we haven't talked about that. He's coming back.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about it.
No. All right. Is he gonna win?
No.
I think
he's gonna.
he could.
He's gonna.
I think he still could.
He could, but he's gonna get bodied on one of these 15 last restarts.
What if it rains?
Then he'll get bodied on one of the last restarts.
No, dude. So he's running Indy. I think
like
that,
he's probably the best guy in the field to do it, but it's just the way that race has been. Now, if that race ends up being calm as can be, yes. Yeah, for some reason, if that happens, yeah.
I wonder if there is some sort of, this is dumb of me to even think, but how he raced in Chicago. I wonder, and how the whole field raced in Chicago. I wonder if there is a level of respect and level-headedness that comes with that.
I just wish they would come out this week and say we're running single file restarts.
Yeah, that'd be
because
cool.
that would change everything. The only problem is I know the front straight at Chicago was decently long, but the run up just off a restart, A, but B, from how just that straightaway on Indianapolis just so long. Guys just look at it the entire time and they start salivating. They're like, oh yeah, I can get 5 guys here.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. I think that was where the single file restart debate at least flared up for me, was the Indy last year. It also seems more and more apparent that he's coming to NASCAR full time.
Yeah. So I read that he is not happy with the new gen supercars too, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Where does he go? I
don't know. So it sounds like
I don't know either.
Sounds like Austin Hill's in the 31.
I haven't heard that at all.
Oh, I've heard that a lot.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because originally that was kind of my thought was, oh, they're going to pick up Shane Van Gisbergen. And then I kept reading Austin Hill. So it kind of makes sense. I don't really think Austin Hill's going to be a great Cup driver. I don't think he's a great Xfinity driver. I'll be real about that. He's a great super speedway Xfinity driver. I don't know. Anyway, we're not really going to get into that. What all is available? So the 10 cars available, we think.
Yeah. But
does he drive a Ford in that? No, he drives a
he drives a Chevy.
Okay. Is it not a Holden in that series, or is it?
Maybe it's a Holden.
It's GM.
Anyway, yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Do you think there's I wonder if there's an option for Justin Marks to buy another charter.
The only thing about that is the biggest one we were thinking of was Rick Ware Racing. And I mean, unless he wants to sell the 15 charter, which he could.
Yeah.
I don't. I doubt it, especially with the way the business model is, according to Denny and a few other guys. I don't see them selling. I could see Spire if they got backing from someone else.
Yeah.
The only thing with them is they have a Celsius deal. I wonder if Red Bull wants to be involved and if that would be a problem. Red Bull may not want to be involved. It may not be a problem, but I mean,
I don't know that Red Bull.
He's on their list of drivers, as athletes.
Yeah, but I'm sure the other driver for that team it's more of a team deal.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a Shane Van Gisbergen deal. Yeah, Spire actually, that does make sense.
That would be huge for Spire too.
Oh, it would be. I mean, if you're Daniel Suarez, are you on the hot seat?
I wanted to say, I almost said that after Chicago, and I didn't want to because obviously we have listener of this podcast is a Daniel Suarez fan. Obviously, my former race mom who betrayed me by pulling for the Florida Panthers now is a Suarez fan. I would be a little bit concerned. I'd see. The only thing is if I'm Justin Marks, I'm going. I don't know if I'm not ready to cut. If I'm Justin Marks, I'm not ready to cut bait on Daniel Suarez.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. Is he's invested a lot in the Suarez, and I feel like, I mean, obviously he had a bad day today, but that was
not his fault. Obviously,
not his fault. And I think Justin is able to see that a lot of things haven't been Suarez's fault this year.
Yeah.
And those cars typically run
a lot better than they
together.
finish.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there.
Yep.
But
I could definitely see Stuart Haas taking a run at him, because if Red Bull did want to be involved, there would not be any constraints there. And
I think Chevy. I think 100% he's a Chevy next year if he comes.
Yeah, the only thing is how many rides are open. I think that essentially leaves him to go into Spire.
Yeah, Spire. I mean, dude.
Does Spire have a technical alliance right now?
Yeah, with Hendrick.
Actually, never mind. There it is.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, I think Colleague's still open. I wouldn't shoehorn Austin Hill into that car just yet.
Yeah, I mean, they did say they've been talking to a lot of guys.
Exactly.
I think it ultimately will come down, because I don't think you move on from a guy like Justin Haley if you're not trying to get someone with a lot of backing. So if Shane Van Gisbergen is coming in with backing, yes, definitely. If he's not, then I would say definitely Austin Hill is higher on the list. That's just a hunch. Obviously, I'm not an insider, but
I feel like there's the more availability to get backing if you have Shane Van Gisbergen than there is.
I wonder
Austin
how
Hill.
many like global companies are going to be interested in sponsoring Shane Van Gisbergen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. All to play out.
Either way, I'm excited. I think
very excited.
I want to see how he adapts to oval racing. And it's not like he hasn't driven on ovals ever. Obviously, he's done sprint car racing before.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the thing everybody forgets about.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people writing him off on ovals. Bro's a sprint car driver. So the greatest race car drivers ever. AJ Foyt, sprint car driver. Obviously, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Mario Andretti. Like, the second greatest race car driver in the world, Kyle Larson.
It's like Shane has done V8 supercars. He does rally racing. Rally racing is brutally tough. Sprint car racing, like, the dude can adapt. So
let's put it in layman's terms for you. Casey Kane has been dirt racing forever. Has never won a World of Outlaws race. Shane Van Gisbergen has won a 410 sprint car race.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, Casey Kane has definitely won a 410 sprint race. He's just not won a World of Outlaws race.
I guess it's true.
I'm just really excited to watch him progress on the ovals. Because it'll probably be on a paved oval. It'll be rough at the start, but I guarantee you, he will pick it up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see it. It should be a lot of fun.
I'm very excited. I mean, I guess there's always the option of them running an open car at Trackhouse.
Yeah, I mean, the Wood Brothers ran open for the first year of the charter system. So
JTG did.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yep.
With the 37, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, we'll see what happens. Ultimate question. What?
I didn't hear that. You cut out.
Oh. Well, Pocono, was it a good race?
I'm going to say yes. But so I had to I messaged Matt Dierkel through the middle of the race because I was wondering what the temperature was compared to last year. Because I was sitting there watching a race going, this was not this much of a one groove track last year.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know. He said it was significantly cooler than it was last year. So that adds up. That adds up. It was in like the mid to high 70s, he was saying. I would imagine last year was probably like the high 80s, low 90s. So that adds up with this car. We've seen when it's hot and slick, it's really racy. really widens out. Unfortunately, it was a little cooler this year. Fortunately for the people in the grandstands, but unfortunate for the racing. It was definitely a one groove track for most of it. Restarts, we definitely saw it. You really had to be on the outside unless you were Denny Hamlin. You just run everybody in the wall. But I still think it was a good race. I still enjoy Pocono. The strategy made it fun to watch still. But unfortunately, a slight step down from last year.
I think the strategy saved it. So I didn't think it was a very good race at all at the beginning. Nope. You couldn't pass, like hardly at all. And really, the strategy kind of got ruined, but obviously it got ruined by, the big story of the day. I think it was an okay race. I think it'll be looked at with rose-colored glasses for sure. I think this is, if you really analyze and look at this race, it's got to kill the argument to go back to the oval at Indianapolis. But it's not going to,
Well, so the only difference that I can see is, and this admittedly, I'm sure you listened to it, but this is coming from Actions Detrimental, is the way Indy is, you might be able to suck up more and be able to get a big enough run at the entry of like 1 and 3 to make it interesting. I don't. For the record, I don't think that the Brickyard 400 is going to be a good race next year. I don't think that, but I think it's worth trying once. And even then, like, I don't even mind it being on the schedule. Let's just not have this bullshit nostalgia glasses memory of the Brickyard 400 like it was this fantastic race. Like, it never was a great race. Even when there were a lot of people there, it was never a great race.
It wasn't. That's all I had, really. Playoff bubble obviously is heating up. Kind of got spread out a little bit more with Suarez wrecking. Chase Elliott still needs to win. And yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason to really get too deep into it right now.
Well, and Elliott's team clearly has given up on trying to point in because they did not stay out and take stage points today.
Yeah.
So they're in the boat of they need to win, and clearly they have to now.
Yeah. Sundress.
I went with Kyle Petty.
Kyle Petty. I went with Pocono fans, for one, showing up and showing out. It was a sold out crowd. I guess let's not talk about how the first 10 rows were made up of those banners they had, but nevertheless, the infield was packed with campers. There were a lot of people there. Anytime a crowd is into it, like they were, like, I mean, they pumped the audio, but they were booing the hell out of Denny Hamlin. And Earnhardt said, as long as they're making noise, you're doing something right. And it's when they stop making noise, that's when you got to worry. So fans are making noise, and that's always a good thing. So,
yep.
That's why I'll go with that. Dumbass.
I went with Austin Dillon / Richard Childress. Yeah, they're delusional. They're completely delusional.
Fair. I think Denny for some of his comments. I think whoever changed the victory line at Pocono also.
Fair.
That was really dumb. Honorable mention, I forgot to bring this up earlier. Christopher Bell.
Yeah.
He makes Denny look like a damn saint. Because he straight up wrecked Kyle Larson.
Oh, yeah. That's not even what I thought you were talking about.
No. He wrecked the hell out of Kyle Larson. And it goes back to Pocono last year. In front of the whole fucking field. He wrecked them.
At the very least.
That is the biggest problem I had with what Denny and Ross did last year, was it was in front of the whole field. You put the whole field at risk. And Bell did the exact same thing.
At the very least, he did not mean to wreck Kyle.
I don't know that that's true.
What did he have to gain from wrecking Kyle there?
I don't know. I mean, dude, how far are you going to send a guy?
I'm not saying he did a smart thing. That was the dumbest shit I've seen since Tyler Reddick wrecked Kyle Larson on lap 3 at Kansas. Like I tweeted, whoever's writing the scripts for NASCAR needs to not reuse something from like 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
You're getting lazy, guys. This whole race was just Kansas narratively. But anyway, yeah, I can't imagine he meant to do that because he didn't have anything to gain from doing it right then. And then he wrecked himself later. But
yeah, ultimately, I don't think he wrecked himself or wrecked him. He might have wrecked himself on purpose. I don't know. But he, obviously, he didn't wreck him on purpose, but he wrecked him. Like, that was, like I said, how far are you going to send that guy? Like, and that was just, it was stupid. That was just dumb. That was dumbass material.
No, I don't disagree with you.
Other than that, picks.
So I need to stop using my Denny Hamlin pick because he keeps winning at the expense of Kyle Larson. I know I'm not saying he wrecked him at Kansas, but he would have if Kyle hadn't wrecked on his own. Anyway.
Yeah. Damn, I'm quite the pickle. I picked Ross today, and Ross ran a grand total of 29th the whole day. I still think he finished like 12th, but
I picked the winner twice this year, and it's been Denny Hamlin both times.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Really hoping the tech gods would kick in today, but they didn't.
Yeah, I was too. I didn't even fucking care about the picks.
Yeah. Martin Truex Jr. So I'm picking for Richmond.
You've picked the winner twice, and it's been Martin Truex Jr. both times.
No, I picked the winner once.
No, I thought you picked Truex at Loudon.
No, I picked Bell at Loudon.
Oh, yeah.
And lost.
Oh, yeah. No, we were just talking about that. Anyway. I am 99.99% sure that I have not picked this guy. So I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick.
I feel like you have.
I thought I had two, but I looked through it, and I don't see his name listed anywhere.
Okay.
If we find out that's not true, then just throw Denny Hamlin on there again. Because that seems to be working out pretty well for me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Why not?
That's been the show. He's been Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin committed actions detrimental to Kyle Larson today.
That he did. And then he's going to gaslight Kyle when he calls him later.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Man, I didn't even hit you, man.
I wish Denny would gaslight me. I just want to feel something.
I mean, all you got to do is ask.
Anyway, that's been it.
That's been the show. Bye. Yeah. Tune in for the Q&A.
Yeah, do that.